why are we going to have a Bangsamoro basic law? This is primarily a product of negotiation. This is a political formula for between the government and the MILF, Moro Islamic Liberation Front, so that we can put a final closure to the armed conflict. So this is not just an ordinary process of lawmaking. This is there is a context here. There is a historical context. There is an armed conflict which is very real in Mindanao that we are trying to resolve. So, so when we say that the Transition Commission will draft the Bangsamoro Basic Law, it is really in accordance and should be consistent with the framework agreement of the Bangsamoro and the 4 annexes, supposedly. Can they go outside? Can they go outside of the framework agreement and the annexes? I think on that score, the leeway of the Transition Commission is very limited because under the executive order itself, it should draft the Bangsamoro Basic Law consistent with the framework agreement and, of course, the annexes. So, for example, when we go to the field and somebody will say, I don't like the ministerial form of government, can you change the form of government and then you just put there another form of government that you pick up from the consultation? So this is one of the limitations of the Transition Commission. They are limited to operate and draft the provisions of the Bangsamoro Basic Law consistent in accordance with the framework agreement. Why is this the case? Because this is a product of negotiation. There are parties involved, and we are trying to accommodate here a political settlement of a lingering armed conflict in Mindanao. So this is the underlying reason why we need why we need the Bangsamoro Basic Law to conform with the Constitution, with the framework agreement. Under the framework agreement, the relationship between the Philippine government and the Bangsamoro is asymmetric in character. This is very important because why you might ask later, why do you have a basic law? Why are the other regions not having a basic law? Why do you have a basic law? So this is primarily, we need to understand that the relationship between the Philippine government and the Bangsamoro is asymmetric in character. So this is the complete opposite of what we have now under the unitary setup, wherein under the unitary system of government from the north to south, you have uniform systems, you have uniform structure, you have uniform procedures in all branches of government. That is from the barangay to the province, you have the same procedure, you have the same position, you have the same national anthem to sing every Monday morning, that is the same process, and all the positions down the line, that's the same. So with regards to the Bangsamoro government, the relationship will now be asymmetric. It is not the same. No? It is not in symmetry. It is asymmetric. So meaning, let us not expect that it will look like our own local government unit. Or let us not expect that their region will have the same processes as we have. Because this is going to be a different structure, a different system, because primarily it is trying to address a historical conflict which dates back to our colonial history. So it is trying to correct a historical wrong which we have inherited from our colonial master. And so as of now, the assertion of the Bangsamoro for the right to self-determination is very, very central in the whole packaging of a basic law. What is a basic law? I think that is, we need to have an understanding about what is a basic law. Uh, a basic law is primarily a constitution. It is a constitution. It is the fundamental law of the land. It is a body of law. It is the charter. It is the main charter creating the government. For the Bangsamoro people, they said that in the negotiation that we will establish our own government, which will be called Bangsamoro. And so, based on this, they are going to write their own basic law, which is actually, in this context, it is going to be a mini constitution that will govern all the exercise of the powers of the Bangsamoro ministerial government. So the idea now is for them to craft this basic law, and then it will have to pass through Congress. Now, what is this process? Why are we doing this? Why are we going to to still write a basic law, even if there is already a framework agreement, there are already the annexes, and eventually they will sign a comprehensive peace agreement? Why do we have to write a basic law? The basic law will be a legalization process from a political negotiation between government and a rebel movement. This is a political agreement, and there are commitments there. There are several commitments. This is a political solution. But under our laws, it has to go through a process of legalization so that it will be, whatever agreements here will be entrenched into our own political system. You cannot just easily change that because it is already entrenched into our own laws. That's why they have to draft a basic law which will legalize all of this. In terms of process in the conduct of the consultation, the Transition Commission is tasked to conduct massive consultation, because this is one of the reasons, this is one of the factors why the MOA AD was struck as unconstitutional in 2008, because there are lackings, there are limitations with regards to transparency, inclusivity, and the requirement of consultation. As of now, the consultations are already ongoing, and what is an added value now is that it's not only the government and the MILF and the Transition Commission who will be conducting the consultations. This time, they have tapped the services, the contribution of civil society organizations in Mindanao. That means all of us. They have tapped the CSOs to help them bring down this discussion to the communities so that we can also collect their inputs and suggestions and proposals with regards to the drafting of the Bangsamoro Basic Law. I think they have divided their topics into 5 major parts. One is on political autonomy. The political autonomy package will primarily outline the power sharing annex in the negotiation. Fiscal autonomy, this is basically the translation of the wealth sharing agreement, which we already have. The second one is on justice and security matters. So this will talk about Sharia. This will talk about the peacekeeping role, the peace and of the policing, and then basic rights, cultures, social justice, and IP matters. This is very important. And then they will also talk about transitory provisions and amendments, revision, and miscellaneous matters. So So in this, in the crafting of the Bangsamoro Basic Law, I think what you see in our textbook on Constitution will basically be the same. It will have more or less, that is, if you have read your own Constitution, more or less it will have that same provision. It will have this. It will have a provision on the Bill of Rights or the Basic Rights, which are already outlined. There is a long list of basic rights or guaranteed rights in the framework agreement. We can imagine that that will still be put in place in the basic law. Second is, for example, the form of government. So how the ministerial form of government will operate, that will all be outlined in the basic law. And then the justice system. How far, what will be the jurisdiction of the Sharia, and what will be the nature of the expanded jurisdiction of a Sharia, because as of now, we only have Muslim personal laws, which is very limited to family, marriage, and inheritance. But this one, under the framework agreement, there is going to be an expanded jurisdiction of the Sharia, which can even go or expand up to civil and criminal jurisdiction. So this is also a very important provision in the basic law, which we must also closely watch, especially with what is happening now in Aceh. There's a lot of discussion, debates, and exchanges with regards to the expanded jurisdiction of the Sharia now in Aceh. In terms of process, in the last negotiation in Kuala Lumpur, the representatives from Congress have already expressed that the ideal time within which they should be able to receive to already the Bangsamoro Basic Law will be by January. This is their own timetable, because if you want a basic law by end of 2014, and during that period you still have to go through a plebiscite, you really have to have the basic law now. No? But we also know that they have not even finished negotiating the power sharing agreement. So this is really, I don't know, the whole time frame that they have agreed also with regards to the transition roadmap is really getting narrow and narrower. No? And we are racing now against time, and we are entering a very critical phase of phase of the transition, wherein we need to entrench laws into our, and we need to amend, we need to set up governments. So these are very important things that that might be affected by this whole race against time. So it's very important to realize, to acknowledge that while there are a lot of things that we need to do to accomplish during the transition period. They want everything to be finished by 2016, but how realistic are we in terms of delivering all of this in such a very limited time? Now, can Congress still touch? Can they still amend? Can they still tinker on the basic law once it is submitted by the Transition Commission? Can they totally reject and then make their own basic law? Just like what happened in the Republic Act 1954. Is that possible? Theoretically, yes. Because they are Congress. It's their main job to legislate laws. The power to legislate is with them. So they can technically undo everything that the Transition Commission will pass, no? But politically, I don't think they can do it, no? Because this is also as I've said, This is a product of negotiation. The government cannot just unilaterally make any amendments or changes in what has been agreed upon. And so that is why the consultation is very, very important. From now up to 2016, this is going to be a very radical process of politicization for the Bangsamoro people. And I think the challenge now is for us to accompany this process because there's a lot of challenges ahead. What if there will be provisions on the basic law that will not be consistent with the 1987 Constitution? That is another question. Can you pass a basic law? Can you still pass a basic law and then at the same time just park on those questions, on those issues or provisions that will still require amendment of the Constitution? So this is another area of contention. This is another area of debate because some are saying that with the provisions in the framework agreement and in the annexes may not be necessarily consistent with the Constitution. And that is why, if you look at this executive order, it already implicitly, it recognized that there will be an amendment of the Constitution because here, it already empowers the Transition Commission to recommend to Congress or the people propose amendment of the 1987 Constitution. I don't know how far Pinoy will use his political capital to be able to accomplish this. This is, I think, the limitation that we have now because you have a president who is unwilling at this point to touch the charter change. The Constitution has been with us since 1987. So it has been with us for more than 20 years now. And the Constitution is not cast in stone. It is supposed to be a dynamic document that will be reflective of the aspiration of the people at a given point of history. And so I think in our search for peace in Mindanao, the Constitution should not be a hindrance to our search for peace, to our search for meaningful solution to the problems and to our aspiration to put a final closure to the armed conflict in Mindanao.